Anytime the Ten Commandments comes up for discussion, it always takes me back to my childhood years. One of those nights that either I couldn't sleep or parents were out for the night, and I turned on David Letterman. What do you do if you can't sleep? You turn on David Letterman, top 10 list, hottest summer activities. And there I was, fledgling, a youngster at the time, and I'm sadly listening to David Letterman say that one of the hottest summer activities is to look outside your window and watch as each one of the Ten Commandments gets broken. And it pained me. Ten Commandments, people aren't keeping the Ten Commandments. Are all the Jews out there, are they keeping all the Ten Commandments? How could people not keep the Ten Commandments? This is one of the highlights, the centerpieces of the Torah. There's something deeper going on with the Ten Commandments. It's not just about highlighting 10 out of all 613 of the multitude of commandments that are out there. The tablets were given as two, not as one tablet. And of course that beckons inquiry. After all, God, you're doing miracles anyway. You can't just fit them all into one tablet. Put all 10 commandments into one tablet. Why? What's the idea, the profundity behind separating them into two distinct tablets and then connecting them one to the next? The idea is, maybe many of you know the festival of Shavuot, the festival of weeks, in which we celebrate the giving of the Torah. And in our liturgy, it's never referred to as the Zman, as the time of having received the Torah. You know why? Because we never received it at that time. It never made its way into our hands. It's simply described as Zman Matan Toratenu. It was the time in which God gave over the Torah to us. But you know what was achieved there on the mountain called Sinai? We got two tablets. They never made their way into our hands. And you know what? Jews, unfortunately, quite sadly, they're not always keeping all 10 commandments. But it was more than just the issuing, the deliverance of specific commandments to the Jewish people. It was that via the conduit, through the medium of giving these two tablets over to Moses as a representative of the Jewish people, that was God basically saying, this is the marriage contract. You are now becoming a kingdom of priests. You're becoming my chosen people. The chosen nation, the cherished nation, the Am Segula. This is the marriage contract. In fact, the Talmud relates in the Babylonian Talmud, page 88a of Tractate Shabbat, that God lifted up the mountain miraculously, of course, and he held it over the heads of the Jewish people. And some of the commentaries point out that that was a metaphor for a marriage, because we have a wedding canopy. Picking up the mountain over our heads is basically God saying, we're getting married. And that's why bandied about the Midrashic literature is that what took place at Sinai was entering a new level of a covenantal relationship where God was playing the role of the groom, so to speak, and we were playing the role of the bride. We were merging and becoming one entity. God and the Jewish people. The mountain over our heads, it's a wedding canopy. The two tablets, Nachmanides points out, based on the Midrashic literature, two tablets, one corresponding to the groom and one corresponding to the bride, but they're attached one to the next. God could have easily fit them all into one. He makes them into two. This is a partnership. This is a relationship. I'm the groom and you the Jewish people, my beloved nation, my cherished nation. You're going to play the role of the bride. And we're going to stick closely together. It's not about whether the Torah made it into your hands. It's quite important to keep all the Torah or as much as the Torah as you can. But even more important is recognizing that we are the chosen people. And it's via the conduit of these 10 commandments that we enter this figurative marriage between ourselves as the bride and God as the groom. Even if we might break a commandment every once in a while, we have to try and repent as quickly as possible. But let's always recognize that what we're doing when we keep the commandments is not just keeping a list of beautiful things to do. We're keeping things that represented the vehicle that allowed a marriage ceremony to take place, a covenantal and everlasting covenantal relationship between us and God through the grand revelation at Sinai, through the giving, not necessarily the receiving, but God giving us the gift of the Ten Commandments.